Hello, beautiful ones. What if I told you that the revolution that changes your life won't look like a protest? It will feel like a thought you can't unthink. What if the next 7 years aren't about breaking systems outside of you, but about the system inside your mind finally clicking into alignment with your truth? As of today, July 7th, 2025, Uranus right here has entered Gemini. And that, my beautiful one, changes everything. This isn't theoretical astrology. You're going to feel this, especially right now since that Venus is right there, in the space of your thoughts, in how you speak, in the way your own voice sounds different to you, clearer, bolder, truer. If you've been questioning your beliefs or you're feeling mentally overloaded and wondering, oh my gosh, why is everything moving so fast? You're not broken. You are right on time. In this episode of the Heroes series, which I hope you guys are liking and enjoying, we are going to explore what Uranus and Gemini means to your nervous system. This is very important. And what it means to your sovereignty. This is also important. And your soul path. That's really important. And I'll walk you through what Uranus energy is really about beyond the chaos. The shift from Taurus to Gemini, personal and collective examples of how this energy might show up, the history that's about to repeat itself in new forms, and how to actually work with these frequencies so you're not just surviving these changes, you're leading them. So let's begin. So, who is Uranus? Uranus is often called the disruptor, the great awakener, the planet of rebellion and revolution, but he also has genius. So, I want you to think of Uranus like this: a divine electrician who's crawling into the walls of your psyche and flipping off old fuses and rewiring you for your truth. Okay? So, have you ever had a moment where everything in your life felt fine until one random conversation, or maybe it was a book or a gut feeling, shattered the illusion? Maybe you suddenly just couldn't go back to your job. I know I've had that. Or you heard yourself say, I can't do this anymore. And you meant it. That, my beautiful ones, is Uranus. Okay. He doesn't ask for permission. He doesn't work on your timeline. He shocks to liberate. And when he moves, it's fast. So during retrogrades, the disruption turns inward. You might feel an inner rebellion rising, questioning beliefs you've clung to for decades. You may think you're losing control, but really, you're losing the programming that kept you from your freedom, because that's his job, to help you attain your freedom. Now, this is the energy that is now activating through the sign of Gemini, who we know is air, right? So think about that. So let's talk about what that means. From Taurus versus Gemini, we're coming out of Taurus energy. It's been in Taurus. Remember, Uranus has been in Taurus for 7 years. Okay. It is now moving. That's Earth. That's grounding, right? This is now moving into air. It's very two different energies. So let's ground this shift with contrast, right? Uranus and Taurus was from 2018 to 2025. And what did we go through during that time on a collective and a personal level, right? So we faced food shortages. We faced inflation, the collective panic around money, right? We also learned how fragile security really is. Maybe you started growing your own food, learning about herbalism, or pulling your energy out of systems that drained you. Taurus taught us your body is sacred. The earth is intelligent. Money is not security. Your sovereignty is. Now, we're moving into this very different energy. So that's Uranus in Gemini. And this will be happening from 2025 to 2025 to 2033. Okay. So this energy is the revolution moves into the mind. The revolution was in our body, right? It's moving into the mind. The revolution was about Mother Earth and us and our security and our stability. But now it's moving into the mind, right? So what's the mind? Your nervous system becomes the new frontier. Remember, Uranus is the electrician. It's going to be rewiring. So we're going to be moving from what helps me feel safe to what do I know? And is it really mine? What I know? Gemini energy is curious. It's fast. It's dualistic and nonlinear, which means it sees all sides of a situation. It's so curious. It's always trying to learn. It's researching, right? Gemini energy questions everything. So if you felt mentally overstimulated, burned out by social media, or like you're speaking a language no one else is understanding, yeah, congratulations. You're already in the field. So let me give you some Uranus and Gemini themes. Okay. So here's how this may unfold in your personal life. Okay. You might feel drawn to delete all your social media at times, all your social media accounts, or suddenly you start with poetry after 20 years where you couldn't even write poetry, right? Maybe your dreams are more vivid right now, or they will become in the next 7 years. And you wake up knowing something, like all of a sudden you just know something you didn't study but feel is true. Like I know some of y'all have had this where you just know how to do something, right? So this energy is right for this right now. In the next 7 years, this is what's going to be going on. Perhaps you start stuttering around people who drain you, but you find that you speak fluently when you're around aligned souls. Just know that your voice is becoming an instrument of your discernment. Okay. These are all Uranus and Gemini symptoms. So on a collective level, so in society, on the globe, we'll see a massive acceleration in AI. We've already been introduced to AI with Pluto and Aquarius, right? We're going to see the acceleration of that. This is where the wiring gets better, right? This is where we get the new wiring for it. So more public debates about truth versus misinformation. We're seeing that already. We are seeing that in social media with the Texas floods and all of that going on. I mean, you can just look, it's all around us, right? We could see the rise of quantum education. This is really thrilling. And alternative learning paths, like understand alternative learning paths are coming. They're on their way. They're here. They're already starting. Just wait. Y'all haven't even seen yet. And even nonverbal or frequency-based communication systems. I know this sounds crazy right now, but we're talking about telepathy and we're talking about a whole bunch of other stuff that used to be mystical. We're going to actually see those things, okay? With the way that we communicate, okay? Energy, frequency, vibration, not just words, okay? We're not just upgrading the internet. Think of it this way. We are upgrading how consciousness travels. And that, my beautiful ones, starts with you, okay? Now, let's look at the historical echoes of what's happened in the past with Uranus moving into Gemini. Now, remember, it hasn't been here in Gemini in this phase for 77, like around 77, 80 years. Okay. So in 1941 through 1949 was the last time it moved through Gemini. Okay. And what was happening at that time? The world was at war. Nuclear weapons were invented, and propaganda became a weapon. Remember that. Okay. But also, we built the foundations of computers. We connected content. Sorry, we connected continents with new tech. We began to think globally on a bigger scale, right? We began to be able to communicate that way. Okay. And then before then, in 1858 to 1866, we had the Civil War. Not just the war of land, but of ideas, of communication, of identity, right? We also had the telegraph was born. The way humans transmitted truth shifted forever. Okay. Now, from 2025 to 2033, another war of ideas is rising. But this time, it's not fought with guns. It's fought with information, with frequency, with who controls the story. History is a mirror. But this time, you get to choose what kind of story you transmit. And this is why this is so important. This is why knowing this stuff is so important. Because when we become aware and conscious of what is really going on, we get to direct it. Okay? So let's look at the timeline that's going to be happening over the next 7 years. So today, right? Today is July 7th. And we are going to, this is when Uranus enters Gemini. And I want you to think of this time as a preview that begins. It's going to show you what's possible, show you what themes we're going to have going, show you what we're going to be doing in the next 7 years. Okay. This is how the universe works. This is how Mother Earth, this is how cycles work. They're not here to be against us. They're here for us. And this summer, this July 7th till September, it's going to be a preview of, it's almost like the universe saying, hey, this is what's going to be going on. What parts do you want? What do you want to focus on? Where do we want to unfold? Right? That's the way that I see this is what's going to be unfolding in your life in the next 7 years. It's going to give you a preview. And that is from July 7th till September 7th. So let's look at September 7th really quickly. Okay, on September 7th, it's going to start retrograding. Okay, so during September 7th, from September 7th, it's going to retrograde. So we're going to be shown what's possible. We're going to be shown what's going to be working on from July till September. And then September 7th hits and it retrogrades, which is the universe, Mother Earth, our higher self saying, okay, we've shown you. Now it's time to go within. Now it's time to go inside. Now it's time to review, redo, all the reads that I talk about in retrogrades, right? But it's an inner thing. It's like, let me review this. Let me see this again. Let me see what I want. What do I believe? What was it that what they believed? What I taught to believe? What I was taught to believe? Or is it what I think? Is it the way that I was taught to think? Or is it what I think, right? This is where we get to review this, right? And we're only going to get to review it for a little bit until it goes back into, because it's going to retrograde back into Taurus. Okay. Now, when it hits Taurus and it goes back into Taurus for just a little bit, and that's going to happen until April 25, 2026, when it re-enters Gemini, right? So first, we're going to take a look. We're going to go inward. We're going to see, and then it's going to move into Taurus, and we're going to be finishing up the Taurus themes, right? So we be finishing up. We're going to revisit security themes, safety themes, luxury themes, sovereignty of how we live, how we feel safe, how we feel secure, how we feel all of that, right? We're going to be revisiting that during this time. And then on April 25th, it's going to re-enter Gemini, and we've already thought about this stuff. So these themes are going to come back up, and it's going to be all the way staying in there until 2033. Okay. So here's what that means for you. This summer, expect wild insights, mental agitation, and a sudden urge to change your life. Okay. This isn't soft and this isn't slow like Taurus. This is fast. This is sudden. This is disruption. This Uranus, poor Uranus, had a time being in Taurus, but he is so happy that he's going to be in Gemini now because Gemini is very adaptable and will move just as fast as he will. Okay. So, but you guys are prepared for this. You've been really solidifying how you feel safe, how you feel secure, how to be able to make these decisions fast. So don't let that scare you because this is why we do this. This is why I'm doing this forecast. This is why I do astrology and do my work. It's to help you when we recognize all this stuff, right? So in the fall of 2025 through early spring, like I told you guys, April of 2026, this is when it's integration time. This is when you may revisit old habits or fears tied to stability. That's when it comes in here. Okay. That's when Uranus moves back into here. Okay. And then once April 26th, 25th, in April, I'll just say in April of 2026, then we're off and running, right? The mental revolution begins in full. Okay. So retrogrades will feel like an invitation. Remember when we go through this retrograde, because we're only going to be here for a month. Okay. So it's only a month that it's going to be showing us. Pay attention, be aware. I know you're going to be overstimulated, but I'm going to tell you how to work through this. Okay. But when we come back to Taurus, even before then, when it starts retrograding, I want you to ask yourself this question. Is that thought really mine? Right? Because this is a call to declutter your mind the way we declutter closets during a move. Okay, think of it that way. All right, so now that we know a little bit about this energy, about Uranus energy and Gemini energy, right? And what could possibly be coming, let me teach you how to work with this. How do you work with Uranus in Gemini, right? So let me give you a little toolkit, a little things to go by that are important as you move through this energy, right? Because we know the energy, now we need to learn to work with the energy, right? So the number one thing is to regulate the mind, and you want to do that by calming your body, okay? So you can use things like skullcap, which is an herb, lemon balm, which is an herb, gotu kola, which is an herb, and you can use these in teas or tinctures, okay? You can also practice the vagus nerve resets. Now, I have a video where I show you guys how to do this, and I'll put it up here so that you guys can see it and click on it. And you kind of do want to know about this stuff, right? It's going to help you because some days you're going to feel overwhelmed. Okay. So also, if you can't remember the video, you haven't practiced it enough yet, there are some quick ways to do this to kind of help reset this. And that's deep exhalations, right? So deep exhales like that, right? You can do cold splashes on your face, reset that vagus nerve. Cold splashes on your face when I can't say some of the words because you know how this algorithm works. But anyway, cold splashes on your face. Even something as simple as humming. Like just hum. It doesn't matter what it is. Hum. You guys hear me do it all the time, right? When I'm channeling, you hear me do it. And another thing is that you can like put your tongue, and I say this also in the video because it's another way, but put your tongue where your front teeth and your gum meet on the inside, where that little, like, I don't know if it's extra skin or a little ball there, right? It feels like a little extra right there in the middle. Do that and press down on that with your tongue or add pressure to your tongue and it helps reset. Okay. Also, this is very important for everybody. Okay. You may not want to right now, but at some point, you need to take a tech break without any guilt. Like, as you take the tech break, don't be thinking about what they're saying, who's that, what did I miss, blah, blah, blah. I need you to be present, center. Let it go. Don't worry about it. You'll get back to it later. Okay. Because let me tell you why. Silence during this time is sacred. It's sacred. And if you like think about Gemini and how they will become silent. It's because they're resetting. There's so much energy going through them, right? So during these next 7 years, silence is sacred. That's where you come back to center. So if you need to take a 24-hour break, a 6-hour break, a 3-hour break, a 1-hour break from social media, take it. From tech, from AI, from all of it, just take it, because it's so important for your body and your mind. Okay. It's really, really important. Okay. So what do we do when we take a tech break, right? Why don't you do some journaling? So journal your programming, right? Like, let's rewrite this. Remember, I told you there is something about taking what's in your mind and writing it on paper, bringing it to fruition. Like, there's something about that ritual itself that brings it in, that grounds it. Okay. So let me give you something to ask during your journaling. This is a really important ask that you are going to be dealing with. We all are, for the next 7 years. Whose voice is that in my head? I know it's a simple question, but it's a profound one. Okay. Whose voice is that in my head? Okay. Most of y'all can see, hear, feel that. Some of y'all, I understand, can't, and some of y'all have never paid attention to it. That's all. It's there. You just never paid attention to it. So I want you to track your repetitive beliefs. Ask you, who taught you that? Who did it? Who taught you that? That's another question that you want to ask. Who taught you that? Whatever is coming up for you, who taught you that? Then I want you to rewrite your inner dialogue like it's sacred poetry. It's coming from your inner self. It's coming from your genius part. It will come. Just have some patience. It will come. Okay. Number 3, learn something you don't understand, right? Gemini is the master of research. Gemini is so curious, right? So go learn. You don't have to understand it all. Just go learn. It's the excitement of learning something new. So let the curiosity lead, even into chaos. Let it lead, right? You're not having to learn to master a skill. You're just learning to expand your capacity. You're just learning to expand what you know here on this earth in this lifetime. You don't have to master it. It's not a skill. Just go learn. Just go see. Go be excited, right? Number 4. Number 4, speak it before it makes sense. Okay. We are not in Taurus energy. We are in Gemini energy at this point. Okay. I want you to share your voice, even if it trembles. Share your voice, even if it trembles. I just did the North Node in the 3rd house, Pluto in the 5th house, but North Node in the 3rd house. That has a lot to do with speaking, communicating. This is really highlighted right now. Okay. So I want you to share your voice, even if it trembles, even if you don't feel confident. Okay. Because you need to understand, this is what all of you need to understand. Your words carry a frequencies. It carries frequencies, but it does carry a frequency others need to hear. Now, I know this to be true because I don't know how many hundreds, thousands of people that I have seen, clients, and probably, I don't know, 80% of them, 70, 80, 90% of somewhere in there. Again, I don't have all the data, but I'm speaking, just speaking. But this is never more true than I've seen in my own life, where people will come to see me, clients will come to see me over the years, over all the years that I've done this, over the years, and they'll say, I don't even care what you say. I just want to hear your voice. It's my frequency. They're attuned. They understand. It makes them feel better. There's a frequency, right? There is something about my voice that they needed to hear at that time. I don't even think the words mattered. And I'm not telling you because I'm saying this from my, like, I'm the one that said this. I'm telling you, this is what I hear in clients tell me over the years. Like, what a lot of my channel, a lot of people in back in the, when I had the other channel, they would just turn me on. They would just turn my video on and just listen to me while they slept. They said it made them feel better. They come into my energy and it makes them feel better. That is the resonance. That is you too. That's not just me. That's not me being, oh, no, that's everybody. That's everybody has a resonance. Everybody has a frequency. And you, all of you, me included, have a frequency that others need to hear. Okay? Number 5, find your soul signal. What I mean by that is your community or communities in general matter at this time. They really do matter. Okay? I hope that you're in my community, but if you're not, I'm okay with that. You need to go where you need to go, right? But you need people, you need community to mirror and reflect your truth. Okay. There are a lot of parts of us that we don't see about ourselves until we get a mirror, until somebody comes into our, until the community shows us, until, and then we like reflect, it reflects us and we look and say, oh, I love that about that group, or I don't like that about that group, or I love that about that person, or I don't like that. It's because that's what you like about yourself or don't want about yourself. Right. So, the way, some of the way to do this, I want you to start conversations that open the mind, not close it. Start conversations that open the mind. So what if you know what you know to be true? Ask the question anyway. Because Tim, like, I love doing this, but I'm a Gemini sun. I love that I have my opinion about something, but I am always willing to see if somebody else's opinion rings truer. Like, I want to know, why do you think the way that you think? Why do you see it the way that you see it? Maybe I'm missing something. That's the way that I see it. Like, when people want to argue, and we've had that like 6 months ago, somebody wanted to be really cruel and stuff. They left a comment. I could have argued right back. I could have shut them down. I could have torn them apart. But what I really wanted was, I wanted to know why you thought that way. I want to know that, am I missing something? Did I not see something? Maybe somebody else has something. That's how you start conversations. Open the mind, not to close it. We have so many possibilities. But when we're so stubborn and so strict and so conformed, we lose that. Now is not that time. This is Uranus and Gemini. Let's open the mind, right? Let's not close it. Now, the last thing I'll say before closing this out, I want you to really understand this is very, very important for each and every one of you and me. You, my beautiful one, were born for this. This next era will not reward perfection. It's not. It's not about perfection. What it will reward is your presence. If that is one thing about Gemini energy that I love being a Gemini in that way, is that we know how to be in the moment. We know how to be present. We don't worry about what happened or what's going to happen, right? Now, can we get imbalanced and yes, start focusing on that? Yes, but we know a Gemini that's aligned knows how to be in the moment. And that's what I love about Gemini. Okay. So this next era, these next 7 years, it's not going to reward you for perfection. You're going to be rewarded for your presence. That's how you want to unfold this. Okay. You don't need to be louder than the noise. You don't. I'm going to say this again because this is so important. You do not need to be louder than the noise. Okay. You just need to be clearer than the programming. The world doesn't need more content. We all know that. If you're a creator, you especially know that. But others that aren't even creators, you understand this. Okay? The world doesn't need more content. What it needs is you in your rawness and your truth. And you're anchoring a frequency that others remember in their bones. Okay? The mind of humanity is shifting. And you are a living synapsis in that shift. So please tell me in the comments, because I've said this several times in several videos and nobody's commenting. So I need you to comment. I need you to tell me I need you to show your voice. You're working on your nervous system. Let that out. Write it down. Comment on my video. Okay. Are you ready? And are you already feeling this shift? Let me know. What does your nervous system, what has your nervous system been trying to say lately? Okay. And if Sacred Sync, which is my other series, has helped you stay grounded, go check out last week's episodes, because what that's doing is opening the vibration, right, for you. And I will, the Sacred Sync comes out on Tuesday and Thursday. You'll see this. Okay. So that's tomorrow. And if this forecast sparks something in you, please subscribe, share, and stay with us. So until the next time, my beautiful ones, stay curious, stay sovereign, and stay synced with the stars.